Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to our ongoing Operation Freedom Health and Wellness series with the top naturopathic physician, I believe not just in our country but the world, Dr. Peter Glidden. There he is. You know, what makes this presentation series unique is an MD, an allopathic physician trained surgeon, actually getting along and presenting information arm in arm with a naturopathic physician, Dr. Peter Glidden. You see, the medical industrial complex does not want that to happen. They want Peter and I to be button heads. Because if we're button heads, then nobody's paying attention to who's really causing the problems in our healthcare delivery system, which is big pharma, big medicine, big insurance, big government, the technocrats like the Faucis of the world and the like. Now, we have to be extremely careful of what we say because I recently got thrown off of this platform, yes, YouTube, on a 1-year-old video. They shut me down for over a week where I could not produce videos because we said a particular word in an interview a year ago. And after a year's time, they decided that that video should be deep sixed. So Peter and I are very, very careful about what we say and how we say it. But we want to get this information to you because this is empowering. It empowers you to enhance your own health and wellness without using the services of big pharma, big medicine, big insurance, and big government. The title of today's presentation is Are Diseases Linked to Nutritional Deficiencies? Now, if the AMA was doing this, they would tell you, here's how long the video would last. One word. No. Goodbye. Well, the answer is yes. The answer is yes. And Dr. Glidden is going to go into significant detail about diseases and how they can be linked to nutritional deficiencies and what you can do to protect yourself. Pete, welcome back to the Operation Freedom Health and Wellness platform.
Thanks, Dave. I'm feeling pretty good. You want to know why? Because a month ago, I started a bank, made some really bad investments. We went bankrupt.
Yeah.
And the federal government bailed me out. It was fantastic, and none of it was FDIC insured. It was one of the greatest days of my life, so I'm feeling good.
You know, real quick, Pete, there was a book written a number of years ago by the name of Debt, D-E-B-T, Virus. Okay. And it was about the fractional banking system and how it was all smoke and mirrors. And the guy who wrote it was actually a plastic surgeon by the name of Jacques Jacquemin. And he wrote it because he was from a small community. He had been put on the board of this small bank. And he got to know how the banking system was working. And he said, wait, this is all based on smoke and mirrors. This is all based on debt. We can never service the debt on a national level. And he wrote this book. Well, let me tell you, it was a great book. You can't buy it now. You can't find it. You can imagine why, because of what was in it. But it set up everything that happened in 2008, everything that happened, because the book was written before that happened, is happening now, and is going to happen in the future. It was all in that book of what was coming. Now, here's what happened to him. Just like with you and me, he got targeted for speaking the truth. And what happened to him is they ended up prosecuting him, the feds. They came up with some lame excuse as it relates to the bank, and because he was on the board, he ended up going to jail. And it was all for speaking the truth.
Well, absolute power corrupts absolutely, and it's good to be the king.
Yeah. So whether it's big pharma or big banking or whatever it's all the same. They do everything to suppress those speaking the truth. So let's speak the truth, Pete, because the AMA would say diseases aren't linked to nutritional deficiencies.
They're
Pete?
Full of crap.
Yes, they are.
100%.
Educate our listeners on why you say that and why I say that.
Well, a colleague of mine, Dr. Joel Wallach, who arguably is the most researched naturopathic doctor, he's probably one of the most researched doctors in the world, actual doctor who does clinical work and does research, not just a research guy, did over 10,000 autopsies, millions of blood chemistries and histopathologies over a course of 10 years. It was a $25 million project, the intention of which was to discover the relationship between environmental pollution and human health. And this was after the incident in Japan, where hundreds of thousands of gallons of mercury were released into a river, Minamata, the Minamata River, flowed into Minamata Bay. The algae in the bay sucked up the mercury. The little fish ate the algae, the big fish ate the little fish, and the humans ate the big fish. Everybody in Minamata Village got mercury toxicity. A large percentage of them died. The ones who didn't die, when they gave birth, the women who gave birth, 9, 10, 11 year after that, the kids were like something out of a horror movie. Like one arm, 3 legs, half a brain, major birth defects, like major birth defects. And this sent a shockwave through the scientific community. And this was National Geographic devoted an entire edition to the Minamata disaster. You know how in the National Geographic magazines that came out when we were younger, they had like six topics in each magazine?
Right.
Well, when Minamata happened, that's the only thing that National Geographic talked about in this one issue, because it was a big deal. Because the scientific community figured out, well, this was caused by mercury toxicity. And holy crap, if mercury can do this, what about all the other crap that we're pumping into the environment? So they put together a team of experts to figure it out, and Wallach was the lead investigator, because at that time he was a veterinarian pathologist, and he had experience with the environmental toxin exposure as it related to the health of animals. He'd been published about it. So 10 years later, right? So they're 10-year project, $25 million, massive amounts of autopsies and all kinds of stuff. Halfway through the project, they're coming up empty. Because what they discovered was that the normal amounts of toxins that we and animals are exposed to, the body can handle it. It's only when there's a big load like Minamata or Chernobyl that it's a problem.
Right.
So they were about to abandon the project and say, hey, look, we're good. The world is good. Let's go back to normal. Everything's good. But in the process of doing this research, they stumbled upon something else. And in research land, when you stumble upon something,
right,
that's always a very good sign, because, you weren't trying to fabricate it, right?
True.
So what they discovered was, well, environmental pollution, not a problem unless it's a big, big, big exposure. However, nutrient deficiencies, huge. Huge, capital H. Virtually every, and I would say every, illness that human beings and animals are afflicted by are directly related to deficiencies in nutrients. I mean, the most famous of all, I think, is scurvy, right?
Vitamin C.
Pirate disease. It's a horrible illness, a horrible death, and it's caused by ascorbic acid vitamin C deficiency. Rickets, childhood illness, is caused by a vitamin D like David deficiency. Spina bifida, caused by a B12 deficiency, I think, or B2, one of the B vitamins.
I think it's 12. No.
These are deficiency illnesses that the scientific community knows about. Well, as it turns out, and we know about these things because these things came into the mainstream before Big Pharma had the sway that it does now. Right? These things were discovered in the 20s, in the 30s, and the 40s, before Big Pharma was what it is now. So, goiter, right? Iodine deficiency. Well, as it turns out, all illnesses are directly related to nutrient deficiencies. All illnesses are directly related to nutrient deficiencies. And one of the ramifications of Wallach's research was, because he was a veterinarian at the time, and it was the publication of his book, by the way, that led him to become a naturopathic doctor. That's another story. But the veterinarian community took hold of Wallach's research, and they started adding nutrients, vitamins and minerals and amino acids into the food that they were giving their animals. The animals in the zoo, pet food companies started adding stuff to pet food. And Wallach's research, which was implemented by companies like Purina, doubled the life expectancy of the average household dog, doubled it. And animals in the zoo started having babies when before they didn't. And oh my God, the species is going to be wiped out. What are we going to do? Well, as it turns out, you got to just stop giving them Wonder Bread for food.
Right.
And give them nutrients.
Right.
Which leads to one of life's greatest ironies from my point of view. Most people's household pets
are better nutrified than us.
100%. Because their food has it in it, and our food does not. And, you know, this isn't rocket science, man. This is like the fundamental naturopathic perspective is completely in line with this. Natural law, right? The human body knows how to fix itself. Human body wants to fix itself. Human body's trying to fix itself. Human body is imbued, endowed with a divine intelligence that's running the show. Our bodies grew themselves all by themselves from one cell into us, and our bodies right now are managing thousands, maybe millions of biochemical reactions every moment of every day automatically.
True.
So the body knows how to handle things. Well, here's how many nutrients the body needs: 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 2 fatty acids. Here's how many are in the body. Then this less than half. And then the stress of life rolls into town, burns through your reserves, and then things start to break. Not because of chemtrails, which are a real thing, not because of getting older, not because you have a bad gene, but because your doctor is completely unaware of any of this. And by completely unaware, I mean completely unaware of any of this. And in their mind, it's nonsense. It's childish. So what are you talking about, nutrients? You can't, you know, fix a genetic abnormality with nutrients. Well, as it turns out, oh, yes, you can. You can't fix pneumonia with nutritional supplements. Well, as it turns out, oh, yes, you can. You can't fix arthritis with nutritional supplements. Well, as it turns out, oh, yes, you can.
And I'm living proof of that.
But like the fella said, you don't know what you don't know. And I think it was Mark Twain or somebody in his ilk said, it ain't what you don't know that'll hurt you. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so.
So, Pete, this is some of the brilliance of what you present, because some people right now are saying, well, okay, so 90 nutritional needs I have to have, entities. And they're saying, I can't take 90 pills a day, which they can't. Right? That's right.
Right.
And that's one of the things we do at Operation Freedom Health. Yeah. We give people the information. We give them a platform for them to get more information. Yeah. And then we also give them you just can't. One of the things I found in 32 years of practice on the front line, you know, if you just tell people, oh, well, here's what's wrong. And then their next question is, well, okay, well, tell me how we're going to fix this and tell me where I can get the things to fix it. Yeah. And that's what we do at OperationFreedomHealth.com is we provide people an outlet to get the nutritional supplements so they can empower themselves in their own health and wellness. And full disclosure, purchase of the products on OperationFreedomHealth.com does support what we do and how we do it and our ability to get the videos out and hire the IT team people to get these videos out. So Pete, educate our listeners about, no, you don't have to do 90 pills a day, and you have to make sure that what you're taking is absorbed by your body. There's a high bioabsorbability. So educate our listeners on that.
So, I mean, it's just the next logical step. Once you figure out that there's a big relationship between nutrient deficiencies and lack of health, well, the next logical step is, well, how are we going to get these nutrients? Where are we going to get them? How are we going to manufacture them? And how are we going to get them into the body?
Right.
I mean, that's like figuring out, well, there's a forest fire. Well, okay. Yeah. What are we going to do to put it out?
Yeah.
What are we going to do? Just let the forest burn? Let the town burn to the ground? No. You call out the fire department. So Wallach formed a company after this research was published and he saw what happened in the animal kingdom. And the intention of the company was to formulate the 90 essential nutrients in ways that were really easy for the body to absorb and easy for a person to pragmatically do every day. Mm-hmm. Because who the hell's going to swallow 90 pills a day? Nobody.
In a cost-effective manner. Because if you go out, right? So you go out and buy 90 pills every day, forget it. It's cost prohibitive. So go ahead.
100%. So that's what happened. That's why these products were formed. And in 34 years of clinical work as a licensed naturopath, treating real people with real disease, mm-hmm. a lot of the time with medical nutrition, Wallach's supplements are the most effective I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. And I've seen more nutritional supplements than most people because in naturopathic medicine, that's a big part of mm-hmm. what we do. Mm-hmm. I mean, we literally wrote the book on medical nutrition. And, you know, I have access to nutritional supplement companies that only sell to doctors. Mm-hmm. You can't get their stuff as a member of the lay public. You can only get it if you're a doctor. It's nutraceuticals. I've got access to that stuff. I used to work for one of those companies, for goodness sakes, as a representative at trade shows. And after all of this experience that I've had with all of these different vitamin companies, nutritional supplement companies, the longevity stuff, the stuff that's available on Operation Freedom Health, is the most effective that I've seen in mm-hmm. 34 years of clinical work, and that's why I recommend it. And again, this is not rocket science, it's common sense. You know, all wine is made from grapes, but there's a pretty big difference from bottle to bottle depending on all the variables. Mm-hmm. Same with chicken soup. It's the recipe, man, that matters. And the recipe that Dr. Wallach developed that's available through longevity on Operation Freedom Health is the best, most effective recipe I've ever seen because it's formulated in a comprehensive, holistic manner. Mm-hmm. You don't just get a lot of vitamin C, a lot of vitamin D, a lot of zinc, a lot of copper. You get all 90 essential nutrients. Mm-hmm. You let the body figure out how to use it. Mm-hmm. Because we lean on the wisdom of the body. We're not going to micromanage the biochemistry of the body doing blood tests every 7 days to see how many nutrients you need. That's nonsense. You just give the body everything that it needs as long as the stuff that you're giving it is comprehensive and easy to absorb. And that's the magic to this methodology. And that's why we get often remarkable results, and often we'll get results when other people fail.
And in particular, these 90 essential nutrients are in something called the Foundation Pack, which has 4 components. Educate our listeners on the 4 components.
It's a multivitamin, mm-hmm. multi-mineral, antioxidant, probiotic powder called Tangy Tangerine, a liquid calcium and magnesium supplement, a liquid plant mineral supplement, which gives your body 66% of its nutrient needs in one bottle. 66% of your body's nutrient needs in one bottle. It's a remarkable product. Mm-hmm. It's called plant-derived minerals. And a fish oil capsule mm-hmm. called Prohoba Omega that gives your body omega-3 essential fats. And this is a game changer because, again, it's a race to the bottom in conventional medicine. I mean, for goodness sakes, man. Heart disease is accelerating. Type 2 diabetes is accelerating. Alzheimer's, autism, life expectancy getting shorter. We're getting sicker as we get older, as time goes by here. We're sicker because it's not healthcare.
No.
It's disease management.
And that's just the way they want it, Pete.
100% correct. That's exactly the way that they want it. Mm-hmm. And we have all gotten used to mm-hmm. living in undernutrified bodies.
Yeah.
So we look around and everybody that we know gets arthritis, everybody that we know gets heartburn, everybody that we know is overweight, everybody that we know is hypertensive. And you scratch your chin and you go, well, that's just the human condition. Because it's everywhere all the time. Well, not in my office. It's everywhere all the time because people go to doctors who don't know anything about this. And so it's, it's like the blind leading the blind. And because everybody's undernutrified, mm-hmm. everybody's in the same boat. And the way out of this mousetrap is with education and supplementation. Mm-hmm. It's that simple. And again, you know, you don't have to believe me. I mean, you should trust me enough to give it a try, but the proof of the pudding's in the eating.
Right.
So give the foundation pack a try for 8 weeks. Get the foundation pack for 2 months in a row. Take the supplements as directed, and then you tell me how you feel. And I have a live chat feature on my website for my subscribers. I talk to my subscribers for 1 hour every week. 1 hour every week.
And that's at Dr. Glidden.
I'm sorry.
drglidden.com.
drglidden.com.
Yeah.
It says I have a subscription service that educates people about all these things that I'm talking about, plus a whole lot more. And one of the benefits of a subscription to my site is this ability to have a live question and answer with me for 1 hour twice a week, 2 hours a week. I was just on the chat last night. We had 4 testimonials from people. They didn't have a private appointment. Mm-hmm. They listened to one of my videos. They took the supplements the way that I recommended it to. And what do you know? All of a sudden, they can stand up straight again. They're sleeping through the night again. Their blood pressure normalizes, whatever. It's remarkable what will happen just when you nutrify the body. Mm-hmm. And I'm not even talking about what happens inside of a private appointment with someone like me, or, you know, an acupuncturist or someone who's really skilled at doing one-on-one care. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about generic medicine for the masses. Education and supplementation is the first 2 steps to take to get out of the medical mousetrap.
And Pete, let's talk about documentation, because many people say, well, there aren't any studies on how effective this nutritional support is of these 90. Now, that's someone who said that, who would say that, is ignorant of the medical literature.
Well, that's like saying the earth is flat.
Right. So Pete, educate our listeners. the studies done behind these 90 nutritional supplements.
I'm going to do it right now in real time. There's a website called PubMed. It's the National Library of Medicine for the Centers for Biotechnological Information. I go to pubmed.gov, I think, something like that. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to type in vitamin C. Vitamin C like Charlie, and see what comes up. 73,261 peer-reviewed, published journal articles about vitamin C, which is one of the 90 essential nutrients.
And,
so if Wallach tells you this stuff hasn't been researched, well, they're lying.
And you mentioned Dr. Wallach. The book he wrote on this. Yep. Pete, where is it? Where was it requested to be placed, featured?
The Smithsonian Institute.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'll show you. I got a copy right here. This is it.
Smithsonian. And this is his work as it relates on these 90 essential nutrients.
Is in the Smithsonian Institute.
Right.
Yeah. That's how important it is. So if someone says, oh, this stuff isn't researched, they're full of crap. Because it's the opposite. This stuff has been so researched, it's not even funny. And it is completely at odds with the pharmaceutical agenda.
And the reason why people don't hear about it is precisely that reason, because it's the pharmaceuticals. Folks, if you watch anything on TV, 80% of the ad revenue, CBS, NBC, ABC, Fox, MSNBC, CNN, 80% of the ad revenue they get is from Big Pharma. So then there's your answer of why you don't hear about this on any major platform
and also,
in the bought-off links
in the media, because the pharmaceutical industry controls the practice of medicine in the United States.
Yep, absolutely.
In the United States of America, the only thing that can legally treat a disease is a drug. Now, that's just not right on so many levels.
Correct.
But that's the way that it is. And that stood out in boldface during
Be careful. Yep, right. Yeah,
time.
Okay. Yeah, right.
With all of the suppression and all of the censorship for everything that wasn't pharmaceutical.
Right.
Even though it was effective.
So
Even the pharmaceuticals that were effective were suppressed if it went against this agenda.
And the big money agenda. Okay, Pete. So, reference points. OperationFreedomHealth.com. More information. Actually, there's a free video there that Pete did called The 12 Bad Foods in the upper right-hand corner. More information on the 90 essential nutrients, the products themselves, OperationFreedomHealth.com. And then we have Dr. Glidden's site, Dr. Glidden, GLIDDEN.com, where Dr. Glidden has even more in-depth information. You can sign up for his subscription service, and you can be a part of his twice weekly roundtables, let's call them. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of fun. The education is great. The information is really eye-opening, and it'll make you angry because you'll think to yourself, why the heck wasn't I taught this when I was in high school? If I'd have known then what I know now, you'll be thinking to yourself, your life would have been totally different, because people suffer needlessly.
That's right.
Because lack of knowledge, which is censored on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're waiting for the government to fix this, you're good luck.
Or big corporations, or a politician, or forget it. You are your
responsibility for
that's
yourself.
Right. Every listener is their single best advocate and ambassador for health and wellness. Pete, I'd like to thank you for everything you have done, are doing, and will do. Thank you, folks, for joining us. OperationFreedomHealth.com, Dr. Glidden, GLIDDEN.com. Until next time, Dave Janin, Dr. Peter Glidden signing off. Dream big, dare to fail. Thanks for your time today.